I'm sitting here with my dear friend Joan Kingsley, who's a psychotherapist and the author of Fear-Free Organisation. And I wanted to ask her some questions on the brain, on lockdown brain, and about all those weird things that have been happening to us in the last year. What is it all about? Is this normal? And will we ever be the same again? So, Joan, being locked down for nearly a year and in the middle of a pandemic has affected people in all kinds of ways. And obviously some people have been through a very hard time and have a lot to deal with. For those of us who've been fortunate enough to just be at home, going about our business, we've just noticed some very strange things happening. So first of all, a lot of people just are feeling afraid all the time.
Well, if you think about the COVID-19 as the enemy out there, it is out there, it is there all the time. You don't know where it is, you don't know who's carrying it, you don't know who's gonna cough next to you.
Constant worry.
It's constant worry because there's a constant danger out there. So it is a completely correct response for the time we're living in, which is a scary time.
Well, that's logical and it makes sense. But what is there anything one can do to not feel so? And some people feel more afraid than others, but there are some people who are overwhelmed with fear.
Well, I think first of all, it's important to understand that this is not. People don't quite get that psychology is a function of the brain. Our psyche, it's parallel systems in the brain. And I won't go into all the technical things, but all the time, while your brain is running your heart and running your lungs and your kidneys and your blood and homeostasis, it's also running your psychological well-being or ill health. And that's what the brain does. That's its job.
And I suppose it's its job to alert us to the fact that we are in danger and we have to be careful.
Yeah.
And we have to take precautions.
So the brain is all about survival. The brain, without the brain functioning well, we cannot survive. And so you're afraid because the brain wants you to be afraid because you need to be afraid so that you take care of yourself. The important thing is to understand that the brain is doing what it does incredibly well. There's nothing wrong with you, because what happens is people get afraid and then they think, oh my God, there's something wrong with me. I'm going crazy. You're not going crazy. Your brain is doing what it should be doing. It's keeping you safe.
The correct response for the brain.
Yes.
It's keeping you safe. Does that lead into, because obviously there are a lot of increased levels of anxiety and stress.
Well, anxiety and stress they're not emotions, they're feelings. So the emotion is fear, and anxiety and stress are fear-based feelings.
Are they a symptom of the fear, or
they come? Yes. Yeah. And if you think about, if you stub your toe, you feel pain.
Yeah.
Well, psychologically, the same thing happens. You feel that pain, that fear pain, and you then take precautions. So, with your toe, you're going to maybe put your foot up, or you're going to sit down for a minute. And with fear, you're going to figure out, why am I afraid? I'm not going crazy. There's bad stuff going on out there, and I'm going to do what I need to do to look after myself. And this is normal, and it's good, because if I didn't feel afraid, I might be dead.
Exactly. And there are ways of relieving anxiety as well. And of course, exercise is a very well-known one. And my goodness, everybody was out walking.
Yeah. Walking is amazing, and exercise is amazing, and meditation is amazing.
Yeah.
Different things for different people. I started crocheting. I have a new grandson. I've been crocheting.
Well, and I can see that would be very therapeutic.
It's very calming. But finding things and tasks, and certainly walking. If you can't go out and walk, yoga, whatever you can do to keep your body moving and going.
For me, exercise and yoga actually have always been things that I've needed throughout my life, and I even in normal times I can't function without it. I just don't feel as good. So that's been great. And then of course the other thing is, and not surprisingly, people have not been sleeping very well, but they've also been having these really weird dreams.
Well, because our brain is kind of clearing things up in the middle of the night when we're asleep, and nobody really, I could make up stories about why we dream. Actually, nobody really knows why we dream.
Yes, dreams are
but
quite a mystery, aren't they? But they are definitely weirder right now.
Yeah. Not for me, funnly enough.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah, but I know lots of people.
Yeah, no, just everybody I know is having very interrupted sleep. And of course, I suppose it's logical, because when you do have problems or worries, or you are very stressed, you do tend to either can't get to sleep or wake up in the middle of the night. So it's just amplified that, hasn't it?
Yes. Well, when you wake up, your brain goes into it starts worrying. It's hard to calm yourself. What I do is I'll put on one of these podcasts, with breathing or something that's
in the middle
calming.
Of the night.
Yes, absolutely. Because if you're listening, or even listening to a story, and there are podcasts that are made to put you back to sleep.
Right.
And it takes if you're focusing on a story somebody's telling you, you stop thinking about yourself, and then I fall asleep.
I mean, I use that sort of stuff before I go to sleep, because if I get stressed, I can't get to sleep in the first place, and I will just lie there until 4 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
And then by then you're so stressed, of course. So I always do a little breathing exercise before I go to bed, which is amazing.
Also, taking a bath is good.
Yes, that's relaxing. But it's just so easy in bed, because it takes me a few minutes, and I just this breathing which calms your system down. And I also I've really got into the habit of using the Headspace app for meditation, just because it makes it simplifies it.
Yeah.
It's there. You can decide how long, and they do sleepy time ones for sleep. And so on the days that I'm feeling particularly stressed, I'll go to sleep to this little nighttime meditation, and so that works quite well. So that they're probably good in the middle of the night as well. And so there are things you can do, which is good. Now, weird things have been happening as well to me, and I know to other people, of being forgetful or even doing slightly odd things. Now, I'm usually don't do those sort of things, except when I was pregnant. I used to leave the door open, I'd arrive at appointments on the wrong day, and I haven't quite been doing that, but like the other day, I couldn't find my car keys anywhere. Searched the house, made no sense, and I thought, I can't have left them. I mean, it was in the morning, so this was overnight. And do you know, I'd left my keys in the ignition of my car overnight. I mean, it didn't even get stolen, because no one would have believed it.
Yeah.
But I found myself putting crisps in the fridge.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just doing some really odd things at the moment.
Yeah, but I again, the brain is kind of working overtime, and it's hard to concentrate, and it's
got a lot going on.
And I think also, we've been taken out of our routines. We all, you develop whatever routines they are, and they're very personal to each person. I mean, some people sleep late, some people get up early. You're not getting up and going out to work if for you, you're not going and rehearsing a play.
Yeah. And
so time gets warped.
It does. I woke up on Monday this week and thought it was Friday.
Yeah.
So it's all normal then. It's all normal.
Everything is normal.
And then of course, the desire to eat has been huge. It certainly has for me. And the moment the pandemic started, I just felt hungry, and I wanted foods I hadn't eaten in years, and I definitely wanted carbs and chocolate.
Because they make you feel good.
That's
and
true.
they go right into the reward center in the brain, and they actually, certainly for chocolates and sweets, releases feel-good chemicals in the brain.
And when
and
the
then
pandemic
you want
started,
more and more.
well, exactly. And when the pandemic first started, I thought, I'm not going to fight this because this need to eat this felt overwhelming.
Yeah.
So I just did it. The trouble is, of course, when you continue it, then you have a problem.
Yeah.
So well, that's great. Thank you. So it explains why we're all having these weird little traits right now, and that it is normal. It is the brain helping us to survive, and the brain adapting and doing all that, and hopefully, as we transition into a bit more freedom, we'll go back to normal, and the brain will adapt to that.
It will.